All right, so the next thing we're going to learn, we just finished learning our knit stitch. We're going to go ahead and use the same cast on and the same project that I was already working on for this next part. And the reason for that is once you get your knit stitch looking good, practice your cast ons as many times as you need, practice your knit stitch as much as you need. Once you get your knit stitch done though, you can work on your purl stitch. Purl stitch and knit stitch together. If we knit across the front side of the project, and we turn around and we purl the back side of the project, that's called stockinette stitch. And that will give you the nice kind of flat V-shaped pattern in the yarn that you are probably used to seeing and thinking of as knitting. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn our work and we're going to learn how to purl. So I've just finished a knit row across, and that was my third knit row. And so we're going to just purl backwards, and I'll show you what that looks like. So the purl stitch is kind of the opposite, where we went in underneath for a knit stitch, where we went under the front leg. We're going to actually go over and in through the front of that front leg. Sorry, I'm not used to working with needles this long. So we went into the front, under the front leg from the front, and we're going to go around the needle, and we're going to catch that yarn on the way back out, and we're going to slide the stitch off. So again, we're going to go under in the front, and our needle is going to come to the front of the left needle instead of the back like you do with knit stitch. We're going to go around, if I can actually get it. There we go. Sorry. It's really hard to do this on video. And we're going to slide the stitch off. So remember when I said that in the last video that when we knit a stitch, we push the bar to the back. So you can see this is the bar from the last knit stitch that we did. In a purl stitch, we're actually going to push that bar to the front. So as we slide it off, you can see that this top of the loop is going to come to the front of the work now instead of the back. That's the side that's facing us, I should say. So we're going to do that again. So here's our purl stitch is going to go in to the front, around, and back under and off. So in through the front, around, and off. And if we did purl every row, it would look just like garter stitch. It would look just like if we knit every row. It would have the same pattern of having like kind of stripes of bars facing us. So again, under, around, and then we're going to make sure we catch that loop on the way back through like that. And we're going to go again, just like that. And so if you want to, you can practice your knit stitch back. So you've just done your row of purl stitching. So we're going to go through, we're going to go and do a knit stitch now. So you can see that that's already starting to change that pattern in what the fabric looks like. So we're just going to go knit stitch. So again, knit stitch, we're going to go in under the front from the left side, under, over, and through. So again, we're going to kind of slide it in from the left, under the loop, behind the left needle, around, and under. And this gets much faster as you get practice. It will not be this slow. And if you are a crocheter or have or a lefty, it may be easier to hold your yarn in your left hand over your index finger. That's called continental style knitting. There are lots of ways to hold your yarn, just like there are lots of ways to cast on and bind off. So learning, I just completely lost my train of thought. Anyways, that's a knit stitch. So you can see that fabric is already changing. So this was our knit every row is down here. And now we're knitting and then purling and then knitting again. And you can see that that's turning into this kind of V-shaped pattern that you'll see. This is the front side or the right side, and if we turn it over, you're going to see all tight bars on the back, and that is the what I'm calling the wrong side on this one, which is not necessarily wrong, just what we call it when we're knitting. So we're going to go back and we're going to do the purl stitch again. So we're going to go under from the right in front of the left needle, and we're going to go around and down under the left, or under from the right. So if it helps, knitting is from the left, purling is from the right. You want to still go under that leading leg or the front leg. And you can also see as you're knitting, one of the legs kind of sticks out. They're not perfectly parallel on the needle. They're not perfectly even. One leg sticks out a little bit further than the other. We also call the leading leg. And then there's the lagging leg is in the back. So if your stitches are hard to catch, it may be because you're either twisting your stitch or the stitch is actually on the needle the wrong direction. So that's one of the things to look out for. And I just dropped a stitch. So easy to pick up. You can see I dropped it. That's a dropped stitch. I'm just going to stick my needle right back through there, pick it up again. All right, and around and down. I'll show you what this fabric looks like on the other side. All right, so now if we look at the front of this fabric, you can really see that the stockinette stitch is pretty visible now. Here's all the V's, and here is our girder stitch down here. So that's the purl stitch. Once you get that down, I highly recommend working in stockinette stitch. You can purl every row. I recommend that for a little while. Once you get the hang of it, it is a little bit trickier than a knit stitch. It feels a little less controlled than the knit stitch as well. Just keep working on it, and it'll come with time. And then once you have the purl stitch down, and it's going to look like this, like the garter stitch again, you can do a row of knit stitch and a row of purl stitch, and that will give you a stockinette stitch. And this is a really good gauge of how even your stitches are. Your stockinette stitch will definitely have very visible, if it's wonky, if your stitches are uneven, you'll see it in your stockinette stitch. So that's the purl stitch.